What if simply changing the way that you're thinking about divorce is enough to reduce the complexity and to reduce your stress level significantly? Hey there, my name is James Traub. I'm a certified divorce coach. I work with individuals who are either contemplating or experiencing divorce to move forward with more confidence, more clarity, and to achieve better outcomes for everyone involved. So let's talk about how you might think about divorce. Because many people are thinking about divorce as though it is one big sticky thing. And when divorce is one big event in front of you that it feels like you need to navigate, there are a lot of questions that will pop into your mind. Questions like, do I need an attorney? How long is this going to take? How much is it going to cost me? Are me and my spouse going to be able to get through this amicably and preserve some of our relationship? And what sort of impact is this going to have on the kids? And these questions will continue and start to stack up until you feel completely overwhelmed and confused and unsure about how to even move forward through this process. And so what I recommend, rather than thinking about divorce as one big thing, is actually to break it up into four separate, smaller conversations. Those conversations are, the first one is the money conversation. So taking a look at all of the assets, which means the cash, the property, the businesses that you may own, as well as all of your debts and liabilities, and really figuring out how the two of you are going to split all of those things up. The second conversation applies only if you've got children, but this is your parenting and custody conversation about where the kids are going to live, how they're going to move back and forth between the households, who's going to make decisions about their care and their education, as well as how you're planning to handle any sort of special occasions like birthdays and graduations and holidays. The third conversation is about child support, and the fourth and final conversation is about alimony and whether alimony is relevant in your situation, and if so, what type of alimony is relevant. And you see, when we break divorce up into these four smaller conversations, we can start to ask much different and much more productive conversations. We might ask which of these conversations you think is going to be easiest or most difficult for you and your spouse to get through. We might ask which of these conversations you think you might want to start with and which one you might want to save until last. And importantly, we can ask a question like, which of these conversations do you think you and your spouse can talk about without any sort of external support? Or if there's conversations where you know that the two of you either won't be able to come to an agreement, or if you just don't think that you're going to be able to get through that conversation without some sort of support or facilitation or leadership, we can have a conversation about the type of support that might be most helpful. Do you need a neutral mediator to sit down and help the two of you to work through your differences? If it relates to the kids and to parenting, would it be helpful to bring in a co-parenting specialist to help lead that conversation? If there's some complexities to your financial picture, then maybe bringing in a certified divorce financial analyst makes sense. Or if you need support for most or for all of the conversations, does something like collaborative law, which brings in legal and financial and emotional support all into one big, team-based approach, would that be most helpful for getting you through? Because at the end of the day, your separation agreement is really just the terms that you and your spouse agree to for each of these four conversations. So I'm going to wrap it up with that, but I hope that this has been helpful. And if you've been thinking about divorce as one big kind of amorphous blob that's difficult to kind of see the texture of, I encourage you to break it up and to think about it through this lens of four separate smaller conversations and to ask yourself some of the same questions that I shared here. And this will start to frame out the type of support that you need and also where you may start in terms of progressing through your own divorce process. For more information on these slides and other related topics, be sure to check out my free Skool community called the Amicable Divorce School. You'll find the link in the description below.